I'll try the best I can to restrain myself knowing that I am before ordained judge ministers.
We want him president. That's not my words. It is the words of Gen Zs who want Fred Matiang'i back, this time not as a CS. They are not tribal, fearless, and they have no political party, thus are neutral. Going by their Facebook and Twitter, or rather X, posts and comments, all indications point to their strong trust of Fred Matiang'i to lead and make their lives much better henceforth. On Twitter, Pan-African asks Tweeps if they are ready for Matiang'i's 2027 presidency. Kenya Gossip adds activist Okia Omtata as deputy president. Naomi Waithira, on her twit, asks Drive Matiang'i to come out or they go for him. Another one named Boyfriend twits that if this man Matiang'i vies, he'll beat Ruto by a very wide margin. The list goes on and on as follows. However, before we go deeper, let's not forget what brought them here. Instead, let's touch on it. Lately, Kenya and the world have been treated to a fierce drama of anti-finance bill protests staged mostly by Generation Z across various Kenyan cities and towns. Anti-government and finance bill chants and placards are seen being sung in streets, dotted with numerous police officers trying to calm the situation. Tear gas are also a common sight. However, Gen Zs are winning by being peaceful and airing their demands according to Article 37 of Kenya's Constitution 2010. They also vow to exercise Article 1 that says, all sovereign powers belong to the people, is the leaders elected to various positions betray them in this time of need. They argue that the bill is draconian, and that it was drafted at State House by economists such as David Nadi, overseen by the US, the World Bank, and the IMF, and not by the Treasury as enshrined in the Constitution. Oh, one thing my people, like the video so that the YouTube algorithm can favor us. It means a lot to me, thanks. Protesters cite overtaxation and poor governance and accountability of public resources by those in power, more particularly the members of National Assembly and the President, as fueling and forming their actions. As they call for absolute rejection of the bill, they have vowed to take ID cards and register as voters in large numbers, a move that will help them lead a revolution to replace almost all the current leaders in the next general election, especially those voting in favor of the 2024 finance bill. Since they form a majority of Kenyan voters, about 15 million of them, they have dared to bring their own leaders on board in the next election. They propose Fred Matiang'i as their presidential candidate, even though he falls under Generation X and not their generation. They anchor their reasoning to Matiang'i's performance in the previous regime, known as a no-nonsense leader. He made remarkable achievements during his 10-year stint as a CS in different capacities in Kenya. His remarkable achievements stood tall and are still lauded far and wide. Matiang'i entered the Kenyan political arena in 2013 after the successful election of Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto into office.
I, Uhuru Kenyatta.
He was plucked from his lecturer job, something he had done in various universities including Egerton and the University of Nairobi for many years. At the time, he served as CS Ministry of ICT. Not much were heard by the public at the time about his mode of operation, maybe due to the nature of his ministry. He was also pretty new in public service. However, his performances were observed by the president, opting to appoint him as an interim CS for lands in 2015 when Charity Angelou was facing some corruption charges. This doubled his responsibility in two ministries at a go. In 2016, he was transferred to the Ministry of Education, a sector that had been ill of examination irregularities. He made huge changes felt at the grassroots. First, he reduced the time of KCSE marking and releasing from 3 to 1 month, fired the KNEC officials and hired new staff, ordered the painting of all school buses and vans yellow to reduce accidents and for easy identification, among other major changes. He could make impromptu visits to schools, their classes, and dormitories to check the welfare of learners, which mostly were unpleasant. Fast forward, he was made the Minister of Interior and Coordination of National Government in 2017 following the death of Joseph Nakasari.
To appoint Dr. Fred Matiang'i as the Acting Minister for Internal Security.
This is where he made further changes that saw him elevated as a super CS by President Uhuru Kenyatta in Executive Order No. 1 of 2019. It put him at loggerheads with the then Deputy President William Ruto, as he was seen as stripping him of his duties. They were then political enemies. Since it also came at a time Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga were in handshake, it was seen as among the strategies to marginalize William Ruto and reduce his chances of winning the 2022 general election. Uhuru Kenyatta had complained of William Ruto not doing his duties but busy campaigning for his 2022 presidential bid. Being President Uhuru's right-hand man and blue-eyed boy, Matiangi would coordinate national projects, oversee the closure of 3 major TV and radio stations during Raila's swearing-in before handshake.
Raila Amolo Odinga, in full realization.
Traditionally, Ruto had been the one launching projects across the country, a move that many perceived as Trojan horse as he carried out his presidential campaign in the process. Dr. Matiangi could campaign for Raila Odinga's presidential bid citing direction by his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, further deepening the rift with the current President William Ruto. However, as things could turn out, his camp could tragically be defeated as Ruto miraculously won as a president. He went on to deactivate all his social media accounts. Rumors had it that he wanted to move out of the country, but his efforts were frustrated by Ruto's orders via Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyua that all public officers should only leave the country on special request from the state. A man once seen as fierce, trusted, and draconian, Gen Zs are once again trusting him with their future following the current turmoil. Will their hopes and ambitions become fruitful and successful? Let's wait and see, time will tell. Meanwhile, thanks a lot for watching and kindly like the video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.